Welcome to the Secrets to Her Success podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Stoops, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll be interviewing a successful woman entrepreneur to inspire and empower you on your journey in business. We love your feedback, so be sure to write a review and don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a single interview. Welcome to another episode where I interview an amazing entrepreneur lady to hopefully empower and inspire you along your journey in business. Today, I am excited to have Ilean Harris of IleanHarris.com with me. Ilean teaches how to build a successful online brand that will help you boost sales, attract customers, and earn passive residual income. Welcome, Ilean, and thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. I'm happy to be here.
Great. I am so excited to dig into your journey. So let's start off with telling our audience how you got started in business and what you do.
Well, right now I do MLM, so it's multi-level marketing, and I have a very successful business from home. I have teams in a bunch of different countries. It's very exciting, and I get to work with people from all walks of life, so I absolutely love it.
That is awesome. How'd you get started?
Actually, my husband introduced me to it. He was doing it, and he just wanted me to go to one of the meetings for one of the companies just so I knew what he was up to. And he wasn't looking for me to join him in business. At the time, we were just dating. And when I came home, I said, how do I sign up? And he was like, wait, what? And I said, how do I sign up? He said, well, don't feel any pressure. And I said, well, if you won't sign me up, I'll sign up with somebody else. But I get this. I see the vision. And I think I can do this. And I'll never forget his silence. He's not a very quiet guy. So he was just kind of quiet on the phone. Like, did this just happen? Did I just recruit my girlfriend?
And it was not even meaning to do that, right?
Not at all. He was just sharing information.
Wow. That is awesome. So you saw the vision. What vision did you see?
I saw that I could work from home. I saw that I could help people in a way that, could help them do whatever they needed to do. Sometimes when we do fundraisers, maybe somebody's a new mom and we fundraise diapers or we fundraise money or we fundraise clothes for somebody. But what if they have other needs? So I thought it would be a great way to just be in a position to empower other people to do whatever the heck they wanted.
Yeah, right. I love that. So how long ago was that when you first started up?
That was about 3 years ago. I can't believe it. Time flies.
Wow. So along these 3 years, you went from absolutely zero and you've worked your way up to where you can provide a living for yourself and from home. That is awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
What were some of the things that you did to grow your business?
Well, one of the things that I found very difficult at first was to be coachable. Everybody, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're likely very creative and very spontaneous, and you have so many ideas for expansion and, I could do this better and that better, but we forget to do it right first before we do it better. And so that was one of my mistakes, because when I got advice, when I got instruction, it sounded so simple. It was like, okay, I get it. But you can't just say, I get it. You got to say, okay, I'll do it.
I love that.
So that was a big distinction for me, just applying as I learn, not just acquiring knowledge, but developing habits.
Is it just women, or do we really complicate everything? I don't know if it's just women, but
we're too smart for our own good.
I know. I so many times I've complicated it. It's just basic, and it's very simple, really, when you break down what you need to do in business. It's simple. There's no need to complicate it.
Absolutely.
So as you're building your business, have you ever felt, like you just wanted to throw in the towel and give up?
One of the things that for me was interesting was that when my husband, then my boyfriend, showed me the business, I was actually getting my doctorate in psychology. And I was miserable, but I thought I was miserable because who isn't miserable in graduate school? It's a lot of work, and teachers are sometimes very mean, and you just kind of have to deal with it. So I was torn with, am I miserable because I'm meant to be an entrepreneur, or am I miserable because I'm just paying my dues like everybody else in grad school? So I was torn between that employee and entrepreneur mindset of, Am I really quitting one goal or am I being courageous enough to really go after my real goal? And
Mm.
that for me was extremely tough. And finally, I did walk away from my doctorate in psychology. And that's when I felt like I really had skin in the game. I wasn't hedging my bets anymore. I wasn't like, well, I could be Dr. Ilean, worst case, which isn't that bad. Or, if this goes well, then I don't have to do Dr. Ilean. So I felt like the pinnacle of my success was when I had skin in the game, when I said, I'm all in, and I jumped into the deep end of the pool.
Wow. You've brought up such an amazing point. So so you were like no longer like, this is plan B. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
keep my foot in here and I'm gonna kind of hold on to this and maybe if this doesn't work out. So is that a huge mindset shift or what?
I guess so. I don't see what else it could be, but really it was a lot. It was emotional, it was physically draining. My family was even invested. You're telling all of your friends that your
Yeah.
daughter's getting her doctorate and suddenly it's like just kidding. It was like who am I really letting down and why am I really doing this? And it took more strength to walk away than it did to finish, I think.
So at this point you're like, I have to be successful. Otherwise, it's gonna be all for nothing kind of thing.
Exactly.
Did that motivate you a lot to just press and really, do what you needed to do?
It really did. And you know what? The other thing that really motivated me is that the timing of it all, right when I walked away from my doctorate, we all were also engaged to be wed, and our parents did not help us pay for the wedding. So we also had a date. We didn't have any money, and we set a wedding date. I didn't have a venue, and I started inviting people. So I knew I was being held accountable, and we just made it happen because sometimes I feel like entrepreneurs don't earn more because they don't have more expenses. So I felt like we had to create something so then we would be forced to rise to the occasion.
What if you do set something? Have you ever set a huge goal like that and failed? Like and didn't meet it?
Well, I'll give you one. My doctorate. I don't know if I would call it a failure, but I was like that was something I set after, and
Hmm.
then I encountered something that truly I have never felt wrong. Even when I have had no sleep in days, I've never felt as miserable as I was in my comfortable school position
Yeah.
for my doctorate. So even if in my worst days I felt better than before on my best days, I thought that was an indicator. But a funny story is I did a half marathon and I did it to help me lose weight for the wedding because nobody wants to get crawled out in an ambulance out of a half marathon. So I said, well, maybe the half marathon will hold me accountable for this wedding dress. And I ordered my wedding dress 2 sizes too small. And I started training for this thing. And that was, I guess that's crazy ways to get motivated, but you make it happen. And you know what? They actually had to take in two more wedding dresses off, two more
Two more
sizes off
sizes down?
once it came in. And it was so
Wow.
interesting because my actual weight had not changed, but my inches did. So it seemed like I was gaining muscle. And I never forgot that lesson that sometimes as entrepreneurs, maybe in the bank account, you're not seeing the results yet. You're not seeing the number change you want to see. But it's like your knowledge and your mindset and your expertise and the value you can add changes drastically. So that half marathon for me always reminded me not to measure my goals just in one way, to find different ways to measure my success.
I love that. So speaking of success, when was the first time when you got this big like success where you were like, yes, I made the right decision from leaving that all behind me with a doctorate?
Well, I think the first success I had was like I was getting better sleep. I was more excited about what I was doing. I was more motivated. I had a vision again, not just a plan. And it's
Mm.
very different when you have a plan and when you have a vision and then you just have to execute the mission. And so I just felt inspired and invigorated. And for me, that was my first success. And then the second one, a more concrete one, was when after only 3 months in joining our company, because, oh, here's the other part. We weren't a network marketing company and it went out of business.
Mm.
And that was the month that our team was the top team in the company. So we didn't get paid after putting in so much work and having so much success. So we were like, oh my God, we're getting
Wow.
married. We just did not make any money. And no one told us, no one warned us that this company was going out of business. Everything was fine. And suddenly the owners threw in the towel, which was devastating. So we joined this company. We've invited wedding guests to our wedding that is not paid for. Okay. People are flying in from South Africa, from Micronesia. My friend was doing mission work over there, from the Virgin Islands. I mean, I we have very international friends. And so we were like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" So in 3 months, on our third month, we made $13,000 in bonuses alone in our company. We earned the car and we earned an all expenses paid trip to Atlantis from our company. And
Wow.
yes,
Was
the
that the
wedding
second
was
company?
saved.
Was that was the second company then, right? Within
Yes, that was us working well under pressure after the
Oh,
company went out of
wow.
business. And so we saved the wedding. We had our wedding. We had our honeymoon. No one knew. We didn't tell our parents, oh, this company went out of business. I didn't tell anyone, oh, I don't have money and I need a wedding. We were so focused on the solution, we barely discussed the problem. And so we put our heads down and we went to work. And for me, that was like the first success. Yeah, the money is like a good report card. Okay.
Hmm.
That shows that, all right, you did good. But it was the actual knowledge like, okay, I now solve worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, everything goes bad.
Hmm.
And now I'm like fearless. Once you literally face worst case scenario and you can see that you can survive it, that's your biggest success because it doesn't matter what company I'm in, what economy I'm in, what happens, I'll get through it. You know what I mean? Once you see worst case scenario and you're not hedging your bet anymore, then you're fully confident in yourself. That's when you can truly say you're an entrepreneur and you're self-sufficient.
Wow. That was just an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. Whew, I got to get over that one. That was awesome. I love the fire in you. It's so awesome. Do you think that you how do you get that fearlessness like that even if you don't necessarily go through like all like everything, you lose everything. You don't have to necessarily go through that. What do you do to help yourself? Like sometimes you just don't feel motivated just on an everyday. Like what do you do to get yourself all fired up and, and really apply that fearlessness that you were talking about just in every day?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question because it's actually one of the things I struggled with. When you're in school, this teacher gives you a syllabus. When you're at work, you're given a job description. When you're an entrepreneur, like, okay, who, what, when, where, why, how, nobody's telling you anything. So I think that's an excellent question. And for me, was that I finally gave up on trying to be fired up.
Mm,
There are days when I am mad at my husband, but he's still my husband.
mhm.
There are days when my mom calls me way too many times and there are no boundaries, but she's still my mom and I'm there for her. And I'm just taking that same approach to my business. When I'm not excited, when I'm not thrilled, when something goes wrong, when a package doesn't come in the mail or something comes broken, whatever. It takes sometimes so little to throw off our entire day. When those things happen, I no longer base my productivity on how I feel.
Mm.
I feel based on my productivity. So I just keep on going, whether I'm fired up or not. I set goals and then I set smaller goals to reach those goals. So what's it going to take to reach this goal? And then that's all I'm doing. I'm working, I'm putting my head down. Sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm sore from the gym, sometimes I'm full and I need a nap. Just I
Mhm.
just want to take a nap and I'm home and I can and my bed's down the hall, but I don't. You just gotta show up and show out and not worry about how you feel. And trust me, when you go to bed knowing you're productive, your confidence starts going up. And naturally, from doing stuff when you don't feel like it, in a weird way, you just feel better. And I know it
Mhm.
might
Yeah.
sound weird, but it just works. What I'm really saying is do it anyways.
Yeah, no matter how you feel. I love that. So, what are some things like some tips you can give on being productive? Like, how do you be productive throughout the day, even when you don't feel like it? What do you do?
One of the things I found that is huge for me is that I set boundaries. So every day I give myself a to-do list of only 6 things and I cap it at six things. Let's say one of my errands is like calling someone to follow up and that took me 5 minutes, I might be flexible and add a seventh thing to the list, you
Mhm.
know? But
Mhm.
the reality is, I give myself six things. And I did this because I find that once I know, okay, this is all I have to do, and then I'm free for the day. So I'm more efficient. I'm less likely to take breaks. I push through exhaustion. I focus more. I look less on social media. I take a little bit less phone calls. Because if I know that if I finish those things and I'm like, all right, it's 8 p.m., I kind of have some time for laundry, I'll say, you know what? No. I said laundry is going to happen in the next 2 days. So I'm very strict with myself because if you don't reward yourself and you know that if you finish, you're just going to have more work, what's the point of being efficient, right? So I
Mhm.
think if you find that cap of how much you can handle in a day to where you can still sort of have a break and have some time to process everything and give yourself a break. Think of it at this way, like church. I go to church on Saturday. I go every Saturday to church. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sundays, I'm not stressed because I have to go to church because I know it's going to happen on Saturday.
Mhm.
So when I have a really long to-do list, I don't freak out because I know I set this to happen on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday.
Mhm.
I'm not weighing this burden on my shoulders. When I go to bed, even if I still have things to do the next day, I feel so accomplished. And so that's my biggest thing for productivity. Set boundaries. It's okay not to do everything, but it's not okay to do everything and then not do it well. So
Mhm.
strive for excellence and set boundaries.
I love that. So, are there any quotes that you live by?
You know, I like when people say every expert was once an amateur. Just kind of
Mhm.
start where you are. If you look at my first pictures online, if you look at my first website, if you look at how I started, you'd be like, whoa. But you have to start where you are and then build on that. You can't say, "Oh, I'll start eating healthy after I lose all the weight." You're not going to lose any weight if you don't eat healthy and take care of yourself. So don't expect to start at the top. And at the top meaning your goal, not the top compared to other people. And so I would just say start where you are and keep building on that. Don't do everything at once. Okay, maybe 1 month you focus on customer service. Then once that's good, then you look at your marketing. Once your marketing is good, then you look at your packaging or whatever it is that you're working on, but build on it so that you work with a mindset of excellence.
Mm. Yeah, and it's so important too to not compare yourself to other people and who are already like seen as experts or whatever, because one day a long time ago or not so long time ago they started out just like everyone else. They
Mhm.
didn't have the knowledge and the expertise and the experience that they have now. I know that a lot of people just like to compare themselves to people who are already way down the road, but it's
Mhm.
important not to do that because everyone was once an amateur. So I love that.
Yeah, I
So
totally agree.
what's some of the things that you do right now to create more sales in your business?
One of the things that I really learned to focus on, and it was trying to focus on my strengths. I think that you should look to your inner strengths and see, okay, how can I maximize this? And one of my strengths is catering to others' needs. And sometimes for women, that can be crippling because, sure, we can cancel the call. I'll do it whenever you're available. Or, sure, whatever works for
Right.
you. And it's like, sometimes that hurts us because people don't think to respect our time or we don't charge enough or things like that. So for me, it was like, okay, I love to cater to others. So what I do now in my business is I focus on adding value. How can I cater to them, not in a sense of being a pushover, but how can I put that so that it works to my benefit? So what free PDF can I email out? What video content can I put out? How can I solve a problem? What are their pain points? How can I be of help? And I just kind of want to have that attitude of gratitude. I'm thankful that they want to subscribe to my list. I'm thankful that they're willing to hear me out on my business. And so that's pretty much what I do. I just focus on adding value. And then because I added value, then I feel like they will want to invest their money, their time, their energy.
Mm, I see. So, um, so basically just adding value will create more income for you as you take care of each individual.
Yeah,
Is
for
that what
sure.
you're thinking? Individual by individual?
Yeah, have you ever been to like a great restaurant or even Disney? They treat you so well, they're not really worried about whether you're going to come back or not. They're just worried about when you're going to come back because when
Because
are
you
your
gave them
days
such
off? When is your next vacation?
Yeah, because you were treated so excellently. You're
Hmm.
going to remember that. So it's all about really making an impact in somebody's life and having them remember you, how you took care of them, that they're going to think of you to refer or to come back, something like that.
Yes, for sure, especially in a day with social media. I mean, bad news travels fast, but so can good news. I think people can give you great reviews on social media. People can speak well of you, and as much marketing as there is at their news feed ads, radio ads, whatever you put out there, the best advertising is always going to be word of mouth, building relationships, especially with influential people. You don't have to know everyone, but you could focus your attention on those who do know everyone. So.
Yeah, that's working smarter right there. Speaking of social media, what are your favorite platforms and what do you use in your business?
For me, we use Facebook a lot. We love building relationships with people. I don't call leads in my business. I don't do cold calling. I only prospect people that I reach out to or people that I have been referred to. So I build very heavily using relationships. Facebook is such a wonderful and mini little encyclopedia of a person's life. I can
Hmm.
really quickly find a way to connect with them. Are they into sports? Are they into charity? I do a lot of mission work. Are they business minded? Are they a mompreneur? Facebook gives you so much information. Just find a way to use that information to connect with people and continue to add value.
Mm. What ways do you find out how do you find people? What are there any techniques that you use within Facebook that helps you find people?
Yeah, that's a great question. Coming from your personal page, not your fan page, from your personal page, one of the things I've been doing is using Facebook graph search. And in using Facebook graph search, I can say friends of my friends who like, and then I could say Robert Kiyosaki, the author of
Hmm.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so I like that book, and I think that people who may have liked that book are like minded. And then I can limit that. I can also further expand on that by saying friends of my friends who like Robert Kiyosaki who live in Atlanta, Georgia. So now there are people who know people I know who live near me.
I love that.
So
That's such a great tool.
just use Facebook and use Facebook Graph and just go through people's friends and see who you may have something in common with. Not just adding to add, but hey, how can I connect with this person and just be genuine about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned a book. What are some of your top books, like maybe one or two top books that you read for business purposes to help you develop?
Oh, my top book that I actually don't like to read it. It's very thick and hard to read, so I listen to it as an audiobook. It is The 48 Laws of Power. That is my absolute top go-to business book. You have to read The 48 Laws of Power. It's amazing. It brings in so many historical references. And then another book that I really like that I recently read is by Martha Stewart. I think it's called The Martha Rules. And
Hmm.
she just gives, I mean, she's built an empire from scratch. And
Hmm.
so she gives so many tips for entrepreneurs, relationship building, promotions. She talks about how for many years she was still working out of her home kitchen. She talks about cutting costs and bootstrapping and expanding when you're ready. And so I really like that. I may not be able to have access to Martha Stewart myself, but if I can read her book, wow, I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you do anything for learning? Like, what advice can you give for learning and growing? Do you have a coach or do you do anything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually recently just started plugging in with Brendan Burchard's Experts Academy, and so just to kind of develop myself a little better, so I can better present and prepare information for my team. And I also, you can read blogs and you can watch YouTube, but sometimes because you don't pay for it, you don't value the information as much. And I tell people these are real tips. This is like real content. This isn't like just a sales page to get you to opt in. So like now when I read things, I don't just read them and, oh, okay, I'm going to acquire information. When I read things and I see a pattern, I'm not like, oh yeah, yeah, I know. I go, okay, this is a habit I need to develop. This is something I must implement. So even if people don't have the money for coaching or training or anything, start with what you have, and that is the internet. So if you read a blog, if you listen to a podcast, if you hear anything, take it at face value. Don't wait until you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to respect what someone is telling you. You know what I mean? Just apply that information as soon as you get it, whether it's a book, a Facebook status, just go, go, go. The information is just as good.
It's so funny between like free content and paid content and, how much, when is it time, I think, to actually get into a paid thing? If, like, should you be striving to get into something paid? Do you think so you think free content is just as good, but you have to know that I don't know how you know if it's good if you're new, like if you, I don't know.
It comes down to your time. When you pay someone, it's because you don't have the time to look it all up and self-teach. Or you cannot look up the answers they can give you. So those are my two temperature test, litmus test, I guess you can say. Can I look this up? And if I can, do I have the time to? And so that's when you're not just paying someone for their expertise. Sometimes you're paying for their time. So you just have to decide. For instance, for me, coding, oh no, girl, I am not going to learn how to code. I'm not going to look it up. I don't care. I'm paying.
I know that's right. I'm with you there too. I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah. Forget that. No, thank you. I'm happy to pay. For some people, it might be cooking or cleaning their house. For some people, it might be their Facebook ads. You just got to decide. And is this really your expertise? Is this really going to help you make more money? Is it just easier to hire someone? So you just got to decide. It's on a case-by-case basis, I would say.
Do you hire anybody right now to help you do anything?
I do. I actually don't have anyone full time, but I have people on an as needed basis. So I would hire someone for content or for coding. I have a programmer on speed dial for sure. I have someone integrating my Infusion soft right now with some of my sales funnels. That's something I just recently upgraded to. And so it's kind of like on an as needed basis right now.
So, how did you go about finding these people? Sometimes it can be hard. Like if you're not the expert in something, you're not sure, and then you just have to go and research it. Do you go to some certain place online to find people or offline?
That's a good question. I mean, sometimes it depends on the price. For instance, when I had a logo made for $5 on Fiverr, I didn't go two reviews did it for me. I was like, all right, it's $5. 2 reviews, that was fine. And so as long as you are okay with the price point, like if someone's charging me $100,000, they're going to have to really jump some hoops for me to hire them. But if they're charging, $10 or $20 an hour or something, I might be willing to take that risk. But usually you can find people through referrals. Online, you can see reviews like on Odesk. I think they'll tell you how many hours they've worked before or logged doing something. So I'd say don't make it so hard to trust someone, because you could always fire them or not rehire them. It's not a commitment like in a brick and mortar store where you're hiring a full-time person and they need benefits. When it's contract work, I pick my battles. I'm not as invested. It's like if it doesn't work, I'll just hire somebody else.
Yeah, great tips, definitely. So what do you think that where you're at right now and where you want to be, what are some of the things that you're going to be working on this year?
One of the things that I'm going to be working on for sure is getting in front of more people. I think once you realize, okay, if out of this many people I get this percentage conversion rate, or if I talk to this many people, I can recruit this percentage of them, then to leverage that, you really have to multiply how many people are exposed to your business. So that's kind of my goal for this year, just more exposure while I'm adding more value.
I love that. Great goal to be working on. And I love how you can really break it down and break down how many people you need to be exposed to another, because it really is a numbers game. And I think a lot of women especially get caught up in what they need to do and spinning their wheels on things that are not important, but really you can reverse engineer your whole, how much you want to bring in by doing that, breaking down and seeing how many people I need to be exposed to, then how many people do I need to get through, the sales page and, actually convert and things like that. So it can be really not as much of an art as it is a science, breaking it all
For
down
sure.
to see where.
And there's so many tools to track everything.
And are you a big
Oh
tracker?
man, I'm a tracking beast. Like, I
It
track
is. It is really
everything, even
important.
who I talk to when I talk to them on Excel spreadsheets. Like, I'm talking beyond Google Analytics. I'm talking like, how much time did I spend cleaning the house? Was that a bad idea? Do I need to outsource that? Like, I track everything because my goals are that valuable to me.
Wow, I love that. Track, track, track. Because yeah, you never know where you're leaking time or money, and money and time is money. So just to really see where you're at, because we really don't think about how much time, like an hour spent doing something, really costs
Mhm.
us when you really look at
Yeah.
it.
And I'll
Love
give you an
that.
example. For instance, my YouTube videos, I batch them. I'll record 15 to 20 videos at once, and then I'll
Hmm.
post them as I see fit, for the next few months. But I got to put my eyelashes on, do my hair. It's like I can't set up that tripod every week. I don't have time for that. But I do have to add value and use video. So, how are ways that instead of eliminating activity, can you group it, do it more efficiently, outsource more? So it's just always find a way. And I wouldn't have known video was a pain point for me had I not tracked my activity.
Because it was taking you too
Yeah,
much
way too
time.
much to do one by one.
I love that. Batch your work. Yeah, that's definitely working smarter. So I don't want to keep you too much longer, and you've already given us so much great wisdom and golden nuggets here. So just in closing, can you share with us one or two pieces of advice that will really help other women as they start up and grow their business?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that overall my philosophy, my mindset is that you can have it all. I don't cut back when it comes to my spirituality. I give God my all. I give my family my all. I give my husband my all. I give my business my all. And some women say, "Well, women have a harder burden because we have to have children and we have family responsibilities and business." And you know what? We have a harder burden because we can handle more. So if you can handle more, just handle it with excellence and just give your all at everything. And you don't have to choose. You can literally have it all. And if you need a little help to have it all, it's okay. Just outsource and get some help. That's fine too. But just don't hold yourself back. Don't let anything bog you down. Do it all and enjoy every area of your life to the fullest.
I love that. Thank you so much. You can find Ilean at eileenharris.com. And thanks again for joining me
Thank you so
today.
much for having me, Lisa. You have a great day.
Did you know you can find the highlights of each episode on secretstohersuccess.com? While you're there, be sure to sign up to get the free report, Top 5 Common Denominators for Building a Thriving Business. If you have ever wondered what makes some women so successful in business, then this is a must read.